Hey, welcome back to the channel. So this I'll be talking about different SAM sites and BMS that I've wanted to make a video about it for a while now. I am not an expert in any way, but my experiences in BMS when it comes to SAM sites tend to get me out of the situation pretty quickly, or gives me a better chance of getting out of it during the moment. A few times during 3D, I explained to pop off chaff and flare that is not it's not chaff and flare. It's only chaff because we're dealing with radar guided SAMs. Flares are ultimately useless when it comes to the radar, and so chaff should be the only thing that's used. None of these maneuvers are set in stone. It all depends on the situation. These are just my experiences and the situations that you might be in when you're attacking a target or attacking an airfield, and these maneuvers and tactics might get you out of that situation alive. Remember to always do your homework and develop your own strategies, and this is only a guide to steer you in the general direction of how to find the vault and how to have different tactics in your toolbox to be able to get away from SAM sites. Feel free to share your ideas down below in the comments if you have any other tactics that you use in BMS to get away from SAMs. And I do have a new shirt over at the Aviation Plus store. Link is down below. It's of the TGP of the F-16, and I think it looks pretty cool. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. See ya. So this is the vault. It's on BMS forums. I'll have it in the description below if you're unable to get to that. But this is a very good amount of information where it comes to all of the munitions, all of the aircraft, the missiles, the SAM sites, radars. So it talks about all of it in this document. So we will be talking about the SA-2, but see how all the fire cannon radars, AAA, Shelkas, all this in here. But for this specifically, we'll be talking about the SA-2. So moving down here to the SA-2, SA-2 is an older type of SAM. Depending on what theater you're on, you might see it, you might not see it, but for the most part, you'll see it at some point in time. The SA-2 on the RWR looks like this. There's a 2 comes up on your scope. Depending on what type of RWR you have, you'll see this on there. So you'll definitely see those on your RWR. So the tracking is a fan song radar, and the minimum range of it is 4 nautical miles or 300-foot launch and 80-foot track. So at 300 feet, it can still launch at you outside of the 4 miles, but at 80 feet, it'll be able to track you as well. It'll be able to track you. So it might launch at you at 300 feet, but if you're lower, it'll still track you, but it will be unable to launch a missile. Typical engagement is 15 nautical miles, 90,000 feet, so you will not be able to go above the SAM site because 90,000 feet is pretty high. The maximum range for the missiles is 18 nautical miles, 90,000 feet. Some of the notes down here it has, this is how to get some of the tactics to get away from an SA-2. So brake turn at least 4 Gs. So beam it, put on your 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Split S, turn away. The other radar that it has for search radar, it'll hit you before you get close, is the spoon rest, and it'll kind of track you for a little bit there. So if you're within 13 nautical miles, pumping is bad, and pumping is defined as a brief maneuver to minimize closure on a threat or geographical boundary with the intent to re-engage. So the biggest thing out of this is to intent to re-engage. So once you're being attacked by an SA-2, I would recommend to get out of the threat circle and do not try to re-engage in your position being launched on, because that's a terrible idea. So just try to get as far away and outside the ring as possible. But definitely, as it says, turn away right here, but don't come back in. So pumping, you could do that, but without the intent to re-engage. So turn away from it, and you can nose up to kind of bleed the missile of its speed, and because the rocket is only on for a little while, and I am not sure what jamb is, but if you know what it is, please put it down in the description, or in the not description, the comments. So type is a towed SAM. ECM range is the Echo band is 12 nautical miles, and the Foxtrot band is 9 nautical miles. So if you go here, you'll be able to see the different bands that everything is in. There's Echo band, all these bands right here, or radar sites right here, and then there's the megahertz Echo and Foxtrot band. So those 2 bands So go and go back up here. So those two bands, ECM burn through range, it works for a little bit. As you see, the max range of the missile is 18. The typical range is 15. It can bring you into 12 nautical miles. Depending on which band it's using, it can bring it down to 9 nautical miles. So the chaff vulnerability is medium. I would always recommend using 2 or 3 chaff to be able to spoof the radar and go after something else. The type of missile is a lead, so it'll lead you. If you look in your canopy, it shouldn't be moving anywhere in your canopy because it's leading you, so it'll hit you in the lead pursuit. Max velocity of these missiles, SA-2, is 2.4 Mach, which is pretty quick. The radar lock range of the the spoon rest, which is the search radar, is 108 nautical miles. So it might lock onto you for a little bit to find you, and then unlock you to look somewhere else. So that's possible for 108 nautical miles. The fire control radar, which is the fan song, that's the radar that actually lock onto you and launch and support the missile till impact, is Echo band 82 and Foxtrot band 62 nautical miles. So you'll still see it out there. It won't be able to launch at you because it needs to be within 18 nautical miles in a sense. But yeah, that's it for the SA-2. Moving on to the SA-3, it's just about the same as the SA-2 minus the typical engagement is a little less. So we have a little bit more, well, a little bit less room for this to get you at. So basically the same thing, but on here, the search radar is a flat face. So that is the search radar. It'll acquire you first, and it'll switch over to the low blow, which is the fire control radar. You'll see an F for the flat face and a 3 for the low blow. How you see the difference. And then the minimum range is 2.7, 150 launch, 60 feet track. Typical engagement is 8 nautical miles up to an altitude up to 120,000 feet, so you're not getting over that at all. Max range of the missiles is 11, 120,000 feet as well, so you're not getting over that. Tactic down here is to break turn 6 to 7 Gs, beam, chaff, and flare, and beam, split S, turn away. So you don't want to, if you're, depending on how far you are, you can turn into it. It would be better to turn away from it, in a sense that you think you're going to get away from the missile. If you're outside on the edge of the ring. Type is a towed SAM as well. ECM burn through range is 6 nautical miles, so it gives you 2 miles of space to get a little closer. Chaff vulnerability is medium, so at least 2 or 3 chaff. Pursuit is lead, and the max velocity is 2.4. Radar range is 108 for the flat face, the search radar, and then the fire control is 30 nautical miles. So moving on to the SA-5, it is a long-range missile. It's usually made to intercept larger targets, less maneuverable targets like either AWACS or C-17s or cargo aircraft or KC-135s, tankers. So you'll see the B on your RWR for a little bit, and have the 2 for the B is the search radar, the 2 is the elevation radar, and 5 is the fire control, which is a square pair. The tracking name is the square pair. Minimum range of the missiles is 7 nautical miles, 1,000 foot launch, and 1,000 foot track. So if you're under 1,000 feet, it probably won't be able to hit you. Typical engagement is 53 nautical miles, 327,000 feet, so you're not getting over that, so that's pretty high. Maximum range of the missile is 190 miles if the target's not maneuvering. Same distance for same altitude, 327,000 feet. Break turn, 5 to 6 G, chaff, beam. The search radar is a bar lock. An odd pair, which is this 2 here, is the elevation. Over here, it is type towed SAM as well. ECM burn through range is 26 nautical miles, so you can basically get about halfway to it where it could actually start shooting at you with ECM. And speaking of ECM, if you get launched by it, a good thing to do, since it usually typical engagement is 53 nautical miles. If you're within like 49 nautical miles and you kind of cycle your ECM, it'll lose you. So that is the first thing you should do when it comes to getting away from an SA-5. If it launches at you, you can kind of just cycle your ECM and it should be able to lose you. If you do not have a ECM, you could chaff You could chaff like at least 3 times if you have a bundle or not. So chaff and turn away, or beam, put it on your 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, so it could kind of lose you in the pulse Doppler effect. So it's not going to get any returns. So not going to get any change of frequency from getting closer to you or getting away, closer or getting farther. So chaff vulnerability is a medium, so at least 2 or 3. Definitely do 5, 6 Gs or so. Pursuit is pure, so it doesn't lead. It'll just hit you, smack you. Maximum velocity is 8 Mach, so that's pretty quick. You have a little bit of time for it to get to you, but you don't want to delay any of these maneuvers. Radar lock range, the search radar, 250 nautical miles. It'll give this B, so it'll say B at 250 nautical miles. It's not going to launch you because it's not able to, but it does look around and see what's in the skies. Fire control is 145 nautical miles. That is just within the maximum range of the missiles. So the missiles might still keep going, but they're probably not going to hit because the fire control can only go up to 145. That's basically it for the F. That's basically it for the SA-5. I'm going to meet you guys in the jet here. So see you there. Alright, here we are approaching SA-2. It's an older SAM site, but still effective. It can still hit you. So this run will be at 25,000 feet, which will be the high. Then I'll do a medium and a low. So here is a good entry point, usually 25,000 feet, 300 knots, 0.73. So I have JDAMs on here, so I'll have some type of load, and I am in category 3. So this is usually what you would be when you're, depending on which flight you are, depending on what you're doing, you'll have certain munitions. But this is the worst case scenario when it comes to getting shot by a SAM. Basically coming in with full ordnance, basically full fuel coming off of your airbase, and then you come encounter with a SAM. So in this case, I'll have ECM off. I'll have ECM off for now, as that worst case scenario would come in. Here I am trespassing SA-2. So the 5 season is a 5 way north. There's the 2. So you would see a 2. It's like, alright, there's a 2 here. So you would kind of not go straight for it. So it would kind of offset to the either left or right. So there's a launch. So first thing you want to do is find the launch. I see the launch right there. So you can just go into burner, kind of beam it a little bit. You got plenty of time since we're way out here. And then going to just basically go away from it. Do some chaff and flare. Seems like I defeated both of those. Oh, maybe not. So still getting chaff and flare again. Coming back down. So that exploded. Chaff and flare some more. That one exploded as well. And that's defeated. So basically what I did is I defeated them chematically. I basically went away from the ring to kind of defeat them of their speed. So it'll be harder for them to hit me. You turn that down a little bit. But that was that. So depending on where you are, how far or close you are, if you're far away, it's better to go away from the SAM. For the most part. If you're close, then you might have to turn into it to defeat the angle. Give a harder angle for it to turn. I'm going to try that again. Climb back up. I'm going to go back into the threat circle at 15,000. So I'm going to keep that 300 knots or so. Again, this is with jammer off. See at what point this SA-2 launches at me. There's the 2. I'll go this way. First thing you always want to do is see where the launch is. That's the first thing you want to do. So it's still launching on, or locking onto me. And there we are, Singer 2. As you can see, it's right there. And it's coming up. So you can do something now, but you don't have to. But since you want more time to get away from it, you can just do a chaff and flare. Go off away. Just change your angle a little bit. Make sure you're looking at the SAM site.
Chaff, flare, altitude.
Another chaff and flare.
Altitude.
Still locked onto me. Leading off that speed. Go back in the burner. Go up a little bit.
Flare.
Now go back down. That one exploded. And this one seemed to have... Oh, not yet. Kind of turning into it now. And there it can't catch up. And boom. So now we're in a very low.
Chaff, flare.
Another chaff flare. Keep an eye on it. So now it lost me. I'm terrain masking now. So I'm going to come in low. Getting it to launch onto me. Launch onto me. We are at up to 5,000 or so. If you're low already, the best thing to do is to go NOE and try to terrain mask it. And since we're really close, how far are we? Yeah, set 8 miles from it. There's a launch. I'm going to go straight down. Put in the burner, put some chaff and flare out. Go down.
Pull up.
And you turn into it. See it? I lost it because of the mountain, so that's good. That's basically all you want to do. But if you're close enough and you don't have time or anywhere to hide behind, basically turn into it for the most part, because that's the best way to get away from it. Kind of cranking it right now. There's the launch. So this I'm gonna delay it. So here it is. It's coming. It's coming. Didn't even track. Yeah, it's not even gonna track. I'm just gonna continue this way. Don't really want to turn your back to it, because it puts you at a disadvantage. But most of the time you do have to turn your back at some point if you want to get away from it. Just make sure it's quick. So I'm going to turn in this direction. Make sure there's no launches, because it could be a dead zone for your RWR. Just make sure there's no launches from it. And you're turning back around. Alright, there's a launch. Looking at it. Still looking at it. See if once it starts tracking. Not even tracking. Well, it is, yeah. Yeah, it's not really moving in the canopy. There's a chaff and flare, and there's a break. Break into it.
Chaff, flare.
That was a miss right there. Get the other launch. There it is right there. Turn into it.
Chaff, flare.
That actually hit me on there. I have invulnerability on, so it hit me on that one. Should have went down more. If it launched into me again. Yeah, see, if you're turned around like this, it's a bad place to be when it launches onto you, because you might not be able to see it. In this case, I could see it, and it's tracking. Let me get some speed here.
Chaff, flare.
Do some chaff.
Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare.
Turn into it. That missed. continue and see if it launches again. There's a launch. I'm gonna wait. I don't think it even... Oh, there it goes, and it's tracking. So burner, so it went high, so I'm gonna go a little bit like this, and there it went underneath me. So now you're in a bad predicament. You're right over top of it. It could be infrared or man pads over it, so you don't want to really be in this position. So all you could do is just look over there. Well, see that man pad right there? Yep, see, it's a horrible place to be.
Flare.
And you're getting shot at, so this is not a good place to be. Alright, well here's the SA-5. It kind of came a little bit earlier than I wanted to. Here's the SA-5. It's at least like 40-50 miles away. So basically for this, you could turn off your jammer on and on. So I must recycle my jammer back and forth. You're not going to see the launch for a while. I'm going to move over here, turn on my jammer. If it loses it, and there you go. Turn on the jammer and it loses it. So, just like that. Yeah, the SA-5 is over to the north in that direction. I'm going to turn off the jammer. I'll continue messing with this SA-5. If he'll launch again. There's a launch of the SA-5. Turn on my jammer. And he's gone. So that's pretty much it. If you do not have a jammer, just do some jinking. I'll show you when it launches again. Just do some basic jinking and it should lose you. SA-5s are made for bombers and less maneuverable targets. So like bombers or AWACS or C-17s or something. So they're more for less maneuverable targets. See if I can have them launch me one more time. So there we go. There's the launch. I'm stuck between SA-3 and SA-2 here. So I'm going to go to the left. And you have to do some of this, some jinking, put some chaff and flare, and it should lose you eventually.
Chaff, flare.
And there it lost it. So that being said, I'm going to move on to the SA-3. I'm going to go south towards the SA-3. So there's the SA-3. I have the jammer on for now because that 5 is going to keep getting at me. So there's a launch for the SA-3. First find where the SA-3 is. See it right there. I'm going to turn off my jammer. Turn it back on. Oh, turn it back on. Do some chaff and flare. Find it again. Where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, there it is. But it lost me, so I'm going to move away from it.
Altitude.
So it takes a little bit of jinking to get away from it. Still pretty dangerous, but best thing to do is not get hit by it. Or not get it launched you. So there's another launch. Looking at the launch now. And I'm going to go down. Still going toward it to get a worse angle of it. And there it launched. Lost. Here's another launch right here. So I'm going to go the other direction. Burner now. Pulling full deflection of the stick. I'm going to try to get away from this thing now. There's another launch. Chaff and flare. Or just chaff. Alright, it's coming closer. Pull up on it.
Chaff, flare.
And there it lost. Going back down. Another launch. Always keep an eye on it. Trying to slam it into the ground. Doesn't seem like it's working. Alright, coming around the top. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? What's behind me?
Chaff, flare, low.
Right there it lost. So I'm going off to the south, trying to get out of this ring. There we go. That's the SA-3, the SA-2, and the SA-5. The SA-2 and the 3 are somewhat the same. Just the SA-2 has a little bit, or about twice as greater range than the SA-3. So that's the biggest difference. All right, here's a TAC view of the engagement with the SA-2, SA-3, and SA-5. So I'll show you and kind of break it down a little bit more when you can see all the numbers and stuff. So here I'm at 26,000 feet going 0.82 for the speed. So as I always say, speed is life. So you want speed anywhere on the spectrum, high or low, give you some maneuverability tactics and room to actually maneuver somewhere. If you're going like 0.5 and you maneuver somewhere else, you'll be going super slow. So it's always good to have some speed behind you when you're trying to defend or when you're going into a engagement area. But basically anything. So here I'm inside the whiz. There's a launch right here. I'll go ahead and do this. So take a look at the speed of the missile. So it's 1.5 right now. But probably going to peak at around 2. Yeah, 2-ish. And I went away. See how I went away from the missile? See, I'm kind of, it's kind of on my 45-degree line. There I'm beaming it right here. That's beaming. And then I turn away from it, and always keep your eye on where the missile is. With the SA-2, you're lucky enough to have the smoke trail through the whole thing just about. So there, some chaff. Come back around, still following me. So I turn and go into still more down, so it's still not tracking me quite, and it explodes right there. This one explodes right here, just based off a distance. It doesn't have enough distance to actually follow me. So I'm going to fast forward it over here. It's basically reset. So here again, I'm at 16,000 feet, a little bit more medium altitude, 0.79. Still got some speed on there. There's the missile coming in. I go away. I'm beaming. Have the missile in sight. Going to the deck. Still getting away from it, and I do this little loop thing. It kind of confuses it. It changes your radar cross section a lot, and it's like it just loses you. So do some chaff, and it do a flip. I still got my eyes on it. That's why I'm flipped over it because I could see it. I noticed that it's not following me anymore, and that was off of this because this is turning. It was turning. It was trying to turn this way because that's the direction I'm going. So I'm going to have it reverse the turn coming this way, going down and to the right over here. And now it doesn't have enough maneuverability to actually make that turn. And it stops right here. Stops about right there. Another launch. It's low, so I'm low now. I have decent amount of speed. Enough speed to actually defend. And being that the terrain helped me a little bit, so the terrain got those. So terrain masking always works. And when you're defending or doing wild weasel, make sure you know where terrain is so you can know where to go. It hits the ground as well. I'm continuing. I'm still close to Sam. This one doesn't even track. Still going. Gonna reset a little bit. Turn back around. And there's a missile right here. So it's on my 45 degrees, so I can keep an eye on it. And then I turn a little late for visuals. So I turn this way to change my vector. And then keep going in here, and then it actually loses me because of the chaff. So it's going like this. It has tracked, and it loses me, and it goes ballistic. Just doesn't know where I was. Loses track. This one's still locked onto me. I go in the other direction, kind of, because it's turning like this. So I'm gonna try to change directions and go to the right. And that one actually hit me. So what that I should have done, I should have either turned harder. How much G's am I pulling? I'm only pulling like 2 or 3 G's, so I should have pulled more G's when it came to that turn right there. I would have probably made it earlier. So I probably should have, yeah, look at all this time right here. I didn't do anything all this time. So I should have turned right in this turn out because I had it in sight most of this engagement. So right when I got out of that turn, acquire it and start making maneuvers like now. So I was late on that maneuver. That's why it hit me. So just going to continue over here. There's a launch right there. That one went to the ground. Didn't track the last few seconds there. There's another launch. It didn't look like it was coming after me, but it did. And it's turning this way, so I'm turning in the opposite direction to get it to change vectors. And it worked. It seems to just go off underneath my belly there. And here is when I get close. This is what you don't want to do. You don't want to be above a SAM site because you got SA-14 as a man pad there. So you don't want to be above that just because of a man pad and these Shelkas and anti-aircraft fire. So I get out of this, go to the next one, and here I'm actually fighting the SA-5, which is over here somewhere. Yeah, SA-5. So I am 20. Actually, no, that's the SA-3. The SA-5 is over here. So the SA-3 is here, but I'm going to be defending the SA-5. So the SA-5 shoots at me about 48 miles or so. So it launches at 48 miles. There's a launch right here. This one doesn't even track, but it goes super fast. See how fast this actually goes. So it goes up to Mach 8, as it said in the information. So it gets up to Mach 8.1 or so. So that's pretty quick, and going basically in a 45-degree angle up. That first one didn't track. The second one didn't track. This one's tracking. As you see, it'll start turning here soon. Actually, it doesn't because I turned on my jammer. Right here, it launches at me. Turn on my jammer, and kind of go off. And then now I have the SA-3. Yeah, the SA-5 is kind of easy to get away from. You just do your flicker your jammer a little bit, or you can just turn off and do chaff, and it should work. So here, I get launched at here, going to the deck, kind of going toward it because it's a little bit more maneuverable than the SA-2. So I'm going a little bit toward it to create that steeper of an angle to actually hit me. So now I'm beaming it as a missile right here. Eyes on the missile, split S and go in the opposite direction that it's going. There's another one. It's going this way, so I'm going to go that way. And now I'm on the deck really low, trying to go away from it now. So I'm trying to get out of it. Because maybe one of the terrain might help you or whatnot. So it's good to, when you're trying to get away, try to be low so you can get away from it a little easier. Right here, I can't go down, so I just went straight into the vertical. I'm at 0.7 Mach. So chaff and then straight to the vertical. Wasn't able to connect. Do the same thing here. Went to the vertical as well, and it tries to loop around. Not able to loop around. Go to this missile. Stop tracking right there. And that's pretty much it for the SA-2, SA-3, and SA-5.